You know what took place in Miami on Wednesday? That was sad. That was truly devastating. But what's even more disturbing is knowing that that's the reality of the world that we live in. That those are things that are actually quite common in today's generation. What can we do about it? How can we overcome this? What is going to happen for the generation coming up beneath us, behind us? Now, as I sat and I contemplated about this, I just wrote down a few things that I did not want to forget because I wanted to make sure that I share it with you here in this video. It's not long, it's actually quite short, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget it because it was very important for me to get out to you. And a lot of videos that I watch and a lot of people that I heard speak about this, they're constantly talking about gun control. About gun control. That there should be some type of control when it comes to people having guns. And I agree with you. There is a certain amount of control that needs to take place. But what I want you to do is just change your perspective a bit, if you will. And understand that it's not necessarily about gun control, but more so about control over the gun. You see, it's a spiritual warfare. Now, why do I say that? Just give me a moment to explain what I mean before you decide you just want to click off of this video because I mentioned the word spirit. Take a thought, take an idea, okay? Those things, both positive and negative, are generated by spirits. If you go to the book of Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12, it simply says that our struggle is not against the flesh, but against the powers of this dark world, against spiritual forces of evil. So we aren't wrestling with the physical, but against the spiritual. If you were to place a gun in my hand, the gun cannot determine who it wants to be pointed at, okay? The gun cannot take a life by itself. The gun needs to be placed in the hands of someone who has control over it. Now, the control cannot take place without action. I cannot take someone's life without the action of doing so. Now, before the action can even take place, it must first be a thought, an idea in my head. So it begins with a thought, it begins with an idea. You can give a gun to someone and they would now have a thought that they would want to commit murder, and then it's followed by the act of murdering someone. Or you can give the gun to someone and they will only use it for self-defense. That's the difference between spirits. That's the difference between people. It is not the gun that is causing the harm. It's the person who's controlling the gun. And you see, that's the same spirit that provoked the mind of that boy to walk into Marshall County High School in Miami. That's the same spirit that put a thought in the mind of that 14-year-old boy involved in the South Carolina elementary school shooting. That same exact spirit that planted an idea in the mind of the guy who walked into the movie theater in Colorado back in July 2012. And that same spirit provoked a thought in the mind of that 20-year-old guy who walked into Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut, fatally shooting 20 children as well as 6 adults on December 2012. 20 children. You see, it all began with a thought, with an idea. And an idea was planted that grew into a decision which became a reality that ended in tragedy. So it's not necessarily about gun control, but more so about control over the gun. Who is controlling you?